Celebrating entrepreneurs and creativity. Talking business, pleasure, real life get together. Join us here.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the Creative Entrepreneurs Podcast. You guys know how it is by now. We look at turning creativity into careers and passion into profit. And we do that by giving you guys valuable content and value that you can start monetizing your talents. And when I speak of this next guest, this is what this next guest has absolutely done in an amazing way. He has literally taken his creativity and taken his talent and put business structures around it to monetize it. So I'm super gassed to welcome TV personality and comedian and broadcaster and activist and so much more, Sideman, to the show. Sideman, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Honestly, it's when I sat down and I was thinking about this show and I was thinking, who can I bring on who really to me epitomizes a creative entrepreneur? Your name was absolutely on the top of the list. And I go back to what I said at the top of the show in terms of just really taking your creativity and being, okay, this is my talent. I'm not just going to push my talent out for everybody to enjoy. I'm also going to find ways to monetize it and build a career out of it. And I think that you've done that really well. And I know that this show is going to be an amazing show because you're going to be giving so much gems and content that, you know, some up and coming creatives or creative entrepreneurs can use what you tell them to kind of implement in their journey. So thank you.
That's interesting that you say that, you know, because I don't be knowing if people like can see the business behind what I'm doing. Like, I don't know whether it's because you've got an eye to see it, but I don't know how many people see it, because then sometimes a lot of people get around me and they're like, oh, he's successful. Do you get what I'm saying? Because they see the world that I inhabit. But it's like when they're just watching me online, sometimes they're not cognizant of what is going on. Or even if they know that, okay, he's doing well, the how of it, the how I'm doing well. Like, there's still people that don't know how exactly it is that I make my money. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. So yeah.
And that's interesting. And that's partly the reason why I wanted to bring this podcast and bring this show, because we always, particularly when we speak of creatives, we always look at creativity as a hobby and something that doesn't necessarily make money. And even when we look at music stars and artists, and yes, the music industry is a big massive thing, but we always look at the music and the artist rather than the business side. So we don't generally get an understanding about how do they make their money, just in terms of like royalties and kind of writing and, you know, and what about the business side? So like the marketing, the management, A&R, like all of those things that contribute to the success of an artist should be spoken about, but never really spoken about. So I felt that there was a space to bring those two worlds together, to be honest.
No, it's definitely needed so that people understand, number one, that money can be made from this, and then how.
Amazing. So you speak a lot about kind of your humble beginnings and you know, you was raised in Jamaica, and I kind of want to take it back to young Sideman. Like, what was your childhood like growing up, and was you the entertainer in the household, and or kind of was you shy? Or
I was born in Jamaica, so like everyone was the entertainment, you know what I mean? Like growing up in Jamaica, like I don't feel like I could have pinpointed myself and said, oh yeah, I was the entertainer. In fact, to this day, me and my family pretty much agree that my brother is funnier than me, but he just didn't choose this this comedic path. But and then my dad's funny as well. My mom can be funny as well.
Wow.
Like, so it's just like, I think just being funny is like a Jamaica thing. Like it's comedic ability, that innate comedic ability is often. But what I would say is I was always brainy. Yeah, that's what I would say would set me apart, because I look at comedy in a very scientific way.
Okay.
So which I know that a lot of people they more do it more innately, more naturally, more they just they do the jokes, but sometimes they don't think about how the joke came to be. Whereas for me now, everything I've always looked at in my life that I've been interested in, I have to be interested in things. For me, if the interest isn't there, can't do it. So for instance, like my parents always pushed me to be academic. They always wanted me to go uni because they knew that I had the intelligence to go in terms of the processing power. They knew that my CPU had the ability to do university, but the temperament to do university, the patience to do university was not there. And I knew that about myself because I did college twice and it wasn't because of a lack of intelligence. It was literally because of lack of care, especially because I often feel like I'm being taught things I could either teach myself better or that I already understand. So I often felt bored with the school, but not the I want to be a rambunctious rebellion youth bored, more bored from from literally an intelligence standpoint. Like the teacher would be teaching me and I'm thinking, I know what you're teaching me already. So as it pertains to my beginning, I felt like what made me different was just being brainy. I was always brainy in the sense of breaking down what I can see. Like I remember when I first come to Britain, it's the first time I held a regular mobile phone in my hand. So I knew the only other mobile phone, I came to Britain in like 2002, 2003. And the only mobile phone that I'd seen prior is the big, massive ones. You remember the
bricks?
Not a Nokia 3310. The big thing that didn't even have a screen.
Motorola's, them.
And I remember when I came to Britain and my mum put her Nokia 3310 in my hand, that got figured out in totality within 2 minutes.
Wow.
Like literally, I just understood how to use the phone because I was interested in understanding how to use it. And so I've always just been a person that breaks things down. Always, whether it is what somebody said, how somebody feels, a situation, I've always been a person that breaks things down. And I broke down that I couldn't do what I wanted to do in life in Jamaica as where I was coming from and how I was living. I broke that down early. Like I knew that I wanted to be in the creative field and I looked around and I said, I can't do it here the way I want to do it. And it's just like life just fixed itself around that and then ended me up here.
So how old was you when you came to the UK?
About 10, 11.
Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, 10, 11 in Jamaica years, I was already doing a lot of grown man stuff. The stories I have in Jamaica, I could never tell. I could never tell. But yeah, like, put it this way, there was man driving to school.
Wow.
When I was in Jamaica. Remember, these times I must have been in like primary school, right? I remember fellow students driving to school. Facts.
Wow.
Nobody can tell me that didn't happen. So yeah, it's a crazy, it's a crazy environment.
Wow.
Lots of stories, untellable.
Okay, so you come to Britain and you start to realise that actually, you know, you have a massive passion for the creative industries. And at what point was you, right, I'm going to take this talent that I've got, or this creativity, I'm not even going to say seriously, I'm going to say professionally. So at what point did you think, I'm going to start making money from this? I want to push, this is the thing that I want to do.
At first I was doing music.
Oh.
Yeah, so at first I was doing music and I was somewhat popular in my area. I was living around Bramford and stuff like that. So they knew I could spit bars as it was.
So this makes sense now. So when we see you on
doing comedic
Instagram
music
and
stuff.
Okay.
Like when I do funny music stuff, people don't understand I'm living out a dream. Like in my own way, but I live out even if it's a jokey song, I live out my dream of making the kind of music that I wanted to make. But yeah. I used to do music, but then it just became abundantly clear to me, and probably still is the case now when I look at the landscape of music, that the type of music I would have to make in order to get ahead how I wanted to get ahead, I wasn't comfortable with promoting that kind of stuff, right? Even if I was living it, because I was 1/8 of a roadman. I always say 1/8 of a roadman because I was never successful at it, and I was never really doing it for money. I was doing it because my friends was doing it. I was doing it because it was fun. And one day we're gonna have to have a conversation about the fact that The idea of being a bad man, the idea of being tough, the idea of rolling with a crew. I know a lot of men rap and they say, yeah, I did what I had to do, did what I needed to do. I was poorer than everybody around me. Facts. Me and my family didn't get an NI number until about 2016.
Wow.
That's like 5 years ago.
Wow.
I had no means of identification in this country. So for a long time, my parents couldn't work properly because the government had our passports. And without your passport, you can't get an NI number. You can't get any identification. We couldn't leave the country. We couldn't do, there's so many things we couldn't do. I was more broke than everybody around me. And even I understood that I didn't have to do road. I understood I didn't have to do road. I did road because I found it fun. It was fun. It was fun to act like a tough guy. It was fun to roll with. It was fun to shark man, and then they shark you, and then they stop sharking first. All of that, there was a fun element to it. But, you know, growing up a Christian, growing up in the household that I did, what would never be fun for me is for me to promote that.
Yeah.
Not to have my parents see me promoting that kind of stuff. Like it's not something I was proud of, you know what I mean? And it's not something I wanted to promote in my music, but I felt like if you weren't doing that kind of music at the time, you weren't getting nowhere. That's what it felt like. So that's why I kind of gave music up in college. And then I started going more towards the comedic side of things. And one of my greatest encouragements and inspirations was actually Man Them on the Wall. You know, Jovan, Purcell, and DK, when they had Man Them on the Wall. That was inspirational to me because they turned that into wall of comedy. They turned that into being serious actors and having serious roles. They turned that into a business. And I said, well, I'm watching the way that the industry is right now and I'm seeing a shift. I feel like I noticed a shift in the industry before a lot of people where things were shifting to where it was no longer about whether you were the best actor, whether you were the best person for the job. Do you have the numbers? Because the wall of comedy, they Man Them on the Wall, they did their thing on YouTube and got so much numbers, they got into the industry. And
It's about the numbers.
I said, there's a back door. If you get the numbers, they'll accept you in rooms that stereotypically you shouldn't be in. And I'm a living testament of that. I did radio on a national level. On a national level. I wasn't just on One Extra when I first started radio, you know. I was on Radio 1. The show that I did with Charlie Slough was on Radio 1 and One Extra. That's millions of people. That's prime time radio, right? No prior history in radio. I had never done a radio show prior to doing that. Why was I there? Clout. Because talent was seen. Just Charlie, who came up in the same internet way, saw something in me and then brought me along because he knows that sometimes going through the traditional route, you don't find the people with the real talent. Yeah. You don't find the people with the natural ability. Like the internet gives you an opportunity to prove yourself worthy. Wow. Without having to go through, without your cousin having to be the head of the production board or you having to go through acting school or whatever for 4, 5, 10 years and all of those. And it's not me hating on those people that do that, definitely not. But I saw a back door and it's not, and that back door should never be, I know that a lot of people find it difficult to accept, but it's the way of the world that we live in now. They don't just want to cast an actor in their film that will do the best job. They want to cast an actor in their film that will make sure the film gets watched. And I accepted that. I fought it at first, because when I first was doing YouTube and doing things like that, I was like, my content is good, but I'm not getting the numbers. And still I started to accept it. A lot of people in the creative field are completely disabled by the fact that they fear numbers. They fear it because they let the numbers define them. I never let the numbers define me. I just understood that I had to get them. I've always thought I was great. Never did I not think. When the numbers are low, I think I'm good. When the numbers are high, I think I'm good. I never let the numbers define me. I let the numbers define them. I let the numbers define the industry. Never me. I always saw myself of value. I just have to make them see my value through the trickery of numbers. You understand what I'm saying? Because there's plenty of. It's like I'll say all the time. I know plenty of roadmen in Brum that are way funnier than me, but no one will ever know. Do you get what I'm saying? I look. Kevin Hart's one of my biggest inspirations. People talk about how much he's not the funniest comedian all day. He's got work ethic and good business principles though. Do you get what I'm saying? 100%. So there's always a back door. You understand what I'm saying? You don't actually have to be the most talented person. Being ingenious, being ingenuitive is actually a method of getting to where you need to go. And so when it came to starting off, I started off in college realizing, if I get the numbers, if I get the, and it's like I left college and I started working at Londis, and I came up with this idea called Roadman. And Roadman was a concept where I was a thug, right? But I got hypnotized at a hypnotist show that anytime somebody said the word blood, because everybody was saying blood back in the day. Yeah. I would turn from a thug into a nerd. So I started that on YouTube and I started cross-collaborating with people. When I say cross-collaborating with people, I wasn't aiming for the people that was the biggest. Because it's a very simple process to increasing your fan base and raising your fan base. You work with people that have either bigger or different fan base to you, and then you co-opt those people into your fan base. That's all marketing is. That's all influencer marketing is. Brands come and they work with me or they work with somebody that has a different fan base or a different level of influence with their target audience, and then they co-opt those target audiences into their own. It's as simple as that. It's the formula's never changed. If you want to build, if you want to grow, you find where the audience is, and the audience can be in the form of a brand or a person. Do you know what I mean? And it's just as simple as that. So because even word of mouth is still somebody bringing their audience to you, right? So when it came to that, I started working with a Birmingham comedian called Young Thrill, right? At the time, Young Thrill wasn't massive.
I think I remember this time actually. Yeah.
So he done the Tintin videos, and I'll forever be thankful to him for working with me. I didn't aim for Stormzy on day one. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I understood that, and this is not to say to people you shouldn't message the Stormzys of the world. I'm just saying message people that are closer to where you are as well, because they have more likelihood of working with you. They appreciate it more. You appreciate it more when somebody acknowledges you when you're still when you still see yourself as being on the come up. So Young Phil worked with me and helped.
It's a bit like this podcast, and you coming on this podcast with me today.
Exactly. So it's just like, and then so he helped me build my audience. As I get bigger, I work with slightly bigger people. As I get bigger, I work with slightly bigger people. One of people's biggest problems is reaching for the stars and only reaching for the stars. Sometimes you got to collaborate with somebody that has a similar sized audience, but maybe a different audience. And that's what I've been doing my entire career, collaborating with people in order to get myself bigger, to the point now where I collaborate with people I'm at the point now where I have a platform. My platform allows me to collaborate with you without even saying a word, right? Because if your eyes are on me, if the Shade Borrows, if the Made You Thinks, if the I'm Just Bates, if their eyes are on me and I post a video and they find it interesting, they'll repost it. I don't even have to have that conversation, but you have to get to that point. You get what I mean? So right now, I might not message somebody every day asking them to collaborate, but even with ZZ Mills, me working with ZZ, I don't know I'm talking, but I get passionate about this stuff.
It's lovely. I love it.
Even with ZZ Mills, that was a very purposeful move by me, because I saw ZZ in a space that I wanted to be in. I saw ZZ as being seen as a voice that people go to for cultural commentary, and I said, I want that. I'm gonna stand by her. Right, I knew that I was at a place in the industry. I had the industry love, but I want the culture. Do you get what I'm saying? And I paid her out my own pocket to do the show that we did, because we can. Like, remember, before we got taken up by Amazon, which I knew would happen. I didn't know who would take it up, but I said, someone's gonna take this up, right? I said, this girl's a cultural commentator, and people are not realizing she's the go-to. She's the person that people go to for the interview when they want the real. I clocked this early last year and I accepted it. These times she was still working a job. She still had a job. She was working a 9 to 5, bro. And she was furloughed, right? And I was paying this woman to do this show with me. She literally had to come down to Brum 4 times a month, right? Wow. And I was covering her travel and paying her more than people get for their job where they work 5 days a week, because she was an investment. Collaborating with her was an investment for me, right? And now I'm recouping my money by miles now, because now we're doing it with Amazon. I'm recouping my money by miles because I stood next to her. I put myself in position to be seen as a cultural commentator more so by talking and standing next to her. And anytime her light shines, it shines light on me now, because we're in this podcast for a year minimum, right? With Amazon, right? With Amazon, they got dough, bro. They got bread, right? And Whatever she does outside this podcast, however she grows, however she builds, every time she comes back on this podcast, she shines light on me.
And I think there's so many gems that you just kind of mentioned. So the first gem is investing in yourself and understanding the power of investing in yourself. And you did that through getting ZZ meals.
But
And
I've been doing that though.
Yeah, that's incredible.
The first time I invested in myself was with I'm Just Bait. Me and I'm Just Bait have a long history.
Wow.
Right, I'm Just Bait's on 4 million followers now. When I first went and started working with I'm Just Bait, he was on about 300,000. Right, I'm working at Londis at the time, right? And I want to get my videos out there. These times I don't even have an Instagram, bro. So I say, okay, I'll get I'm Just Bait to promote it. I put my money where my mouth is and I get him to post it. I say I might as well just make myself an Instagram just in case. He posts it. I start off on like 5K followers now because he's posted me, right? And I keep working with him, but I'm like, I can't keep affording to work with him because he's charging me for these videos and I can't keep. I've got to find a way to get him to post these videos for free. This is people's problem. They always ask without trying to give any benefit to the person that they're asking for. I knew that I weren't gonna just email my man and say, yo, you see them videos I've been paying for? Now I want them to post. I have to find a way to make it valuable to him. I approached him with a deal and I said, listen, this is what we do. I'm gonna put your name, your @ on all of my videos. That means wherever they get reposted, your name is being reposted as well. If you just repost 3 of my videos a week, bro, they're comedy videos anyway. They're in the vein of the style of videos that you post anyway. It's not like I'm asking you to post a product or a thing that's going to decrease your engagement. The videos do numbers, and I'll put your, wherever they go, wherever Wall of Comedy post them or whoever posts them, your @ is permanently on the video, so it promotes it. He agreed. We did that for about a year, which completely grew my following.
Audience.
That's how I grew my audience through I'm Just Bait. And I had a similar when I think I had the relationship with I'm Just Bait for a bit. Then I had it with Hackney's Finest before they kind of lost their page and they're kind of building back up now. But I found a way to be of value to him. Oftentimes people just ask you to do stuff, but they give you no form of way for you to be valuable to them. They offer you nothing. And so in doing that, sometimes you're oftentimes going to get a no. Unless you've got a personal relationship with the person, you're going to get a no oftentimes because it's like, what do I get out of it? And that's when people need to understand that this is a business. You know what I'm saying? This is not a game. This is not personal. I don't know this. I don't know I'm Just Bait from Adam and Eve. You get what I mean? So I have to find a way.
Power of collaboration though, isn't it? Like you've got to collaborate. You've got to seek people with, common
he got me to
interests
100K.
Wow.
I can say that without a shadow of a doubt. He got me to. So if he asks me for a favor today, it gets done. And he's done that for many comedians. Many comedians. Now, a lot of them didn't continue. A lot of them didn't stay the course. But that's for all kinds of different reasons. Because when it comes to this game, there's highs and lows in views. Like, one of the things I rate myself for the most is that I can still get views and engagement. Because many people watch their engagement dip. And they dipped when it dipped because they didn't have the tenacity to stick it through. And
that's the thing, like, about you, like, you're so innovative. Like, we know that Instagram and, these social media platforms can often change their algorithms and it goes up and down and people just lose their traction, lose their audience. But you're somebody that kind of stays consistent and
Instagram's beat me up bare times, bro. When I say bare time, the algorithms fought against me, come against me. I remember one year, I think it might have been not last year, but the year before, I was still on like about 200,000. And I did a video at the start of the year and it didn't pass 7,000 views. And I was like, what is going on? And I had to grit my teeth and fight enough times when it comes to this Instagram thing. I've had to grit my teeth and said, all right, cool. All right, is this what we're doing? Let's go then. Do you get what I'm saying? And I've watched lack of engagement kill a lot of comedians because they defined themselves and valued themselves by the views. I never run away from the views, but I don't define myself by them. And that's a rare mix because I know a lot of creatives right now, they don't post their accomplishments. They don't try. They make content all day that they never post. I know singers that have made 100 songs, never post them, never release them. Why? Fear of engagement. fear of putting it out there and then it doing low numbers, and then those low numbers telling you something about yourself, which it shouldn't, but you let it. Because of course, if you get low views on something, sometimes it often makes you question yourself as to whether it was good or not. But that's a silly thing to do in this social media age, because it's the age of sheep. Sometimes I go on Kevin Hart's page and I see him post videos that I know really aren't funny. Million views same way. Why though? Because it's Kevin Hart. Because social media has a sheep-like mentality, and if people see 10,000 people comment on something, they'll be the 10,001th. But which is why I do tactical things. When I was first starting out doing my videos, I had a group chat of my friends. Yo, comment on this. I need you to comment 30 comments in the first 5 minutes of this video coming out, so that when other people see it, they don't go to a video without comments. Because the second they see a video without comments, they feel like, oh, this isn't worth watching then. And so I used to do stuff like that. I still do it on adverts. So when I've got now my regular videos, they do good. You get what I'm saying? But sometimes when you're doing an ad, it's a different thing. So I make sure that my friends are there, ready to comment, ready to go, so that we can fight the algorithm. You know what I mean? I still do that to this day.
You know what? There's so much that you're saying in there. There's so much to pack in, because the first thing, like having your army of supporters, having your friends, having those people there that you can say, guys, like drop a comment on this or drop a like on this, because actually it benefits and it helps you. And
I did it in ways that I did it and do it in ways that it's tough. Because you really would just like to send out the broadcast and hope that they do it. Sometimes I gotta get on the phone, bro. Have you commented on that one yet? Make sure you comment on that one.
Wow.
Sometimes you gotta run a man down, even though it's your brethren. You know what I mean? Because you want what you're doing. You want it so much. You get what I'm saying? And sometimes even when it's a friend, they can be very lackadaisical and slow with how they help you with that thing. So sometimes you gotta put in the work. Some people, I know a lot of people that have sent broadcasts out and then locked off their friends because their friends blanked the broadcast. Everybody blanks broadcasts. You have to understand. You have to understand and just accept it and just be like, okay, cool. I'm gonna have to ring my man and be like, yo, while we're on the phone, make sure have you commented yet? Cool. I say, bro, can I catch you in a bit?
But you know what? And I think even I'm learning from that, because I'm that person that you haven't responded to the broadcast, what's going on. But I kind of do take it personal if my friends or my people don't respond or post, and I'm not one to run people down like that. So
you have to, because you have to understand that there's a culture to everything that we do. There's a culture to blanking a broadcast. We all do it. Until it's the broadcast, until it's our broadcast, and then we don't expect to be blanked. Like I'll be getting blanked by people and I'm like, are you mad? I've changed your life, like, you know what I mean, kind of thing. But you just gotta accept it. You have to accept it sometimes, man. And like with certain people now, I've badded them up to the point where they know, okay, when I see David's thingy, because he's gonna moan, he's gonna until I do it, he's gonna, you know what I mean, kind of thing. But you'll lose a lot of friends in this creative industry if you get upset with how much people don't help you at first. I don't spend my time getting upset over that. I just get it done. I'm about the result. I'm about getting it done. Feelings just get in the way. Feelings will have you. And that's why I tell a lot of people, before you get in this game, you have to get your mind right. Right? You have to get your mind right first.
Hear that, people? Get your mind right.
Yeah, you have to, because some people ain't built. Some people are not built for this game. This game will crush you. This game will depress you. This game will make you sad. The social media aspect of it, the creative aspect of it, it's a game where if you don't know how to divorce yourself from it when you're ready, you'll be sunken. I know how to back out and just watch an episode of Friends, or watch an episode of How I Met Your Mother, or watch an episode of My Wife and Kids, and just zone out and get myself back to zen, right? And I've watched comedians struggle with that, and I've watched people in the creative industry struggle with that. But I feel like I was built for this, bro. I feel like I was built for it, because like I look at it as something to be conquered.
Yeah. So how do you get your mind right? How do you get? And I was going to touch upon trolls, and just because I've noticed, particularly in the last, I would probably say, year or so, as your status grows, you start to garner a lot more trolls and a lot more dragging, as it were, one of the words that keeps getting thrown around, as it were. I don't know if I could deal with that. And I remember reaching out to you saying, like, take care of yourself, like, because I can see it, and I can see like how horrible and visceral people could be. And
Well-
you was just like, nah, I'm calm. It's cool. Like, don't worry.
Let me explain that, yeah. Especially because that was more like a Clubhouse thing. But like Clubhouse is a microcosm. And I always understood that. I'm not one of them people that reads 90 comments of positivity, then reads one of negativity and then focus on the negative. I'm just not like that. I've never been like that. I'm an optimist first. Never on that pessimistic thing. Just never been me. But when it comes like, for me, like it's different advice for different levels of creatives. I'm successful, bro. So it's very hard for me to sit there and care about the critique or the disrespect, because it's sometimes unhelpful critique of people that aren't paying my bills. My bills are paid. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, I come from too much struggle to let that depress me. Bro, I even by Jamaican standards, I was poor. I used to carry water in a bucket home from a tank. These are facts. And sometimes you have the water bucket on the top of your head and some of it spills out, and you get home with half the water that you actually put in the bucket. That was my life, beating and no toilet doo-dooing in a what do you call them again? What did you even call them? I can't remember what you call them in these little basin things, brother. I can't remember what you call them, but yeah, like that was my life. So I can't come from that to this and then let a troll bother me when I'm making breathtaking bread. I can't do it. It's just I'm just not able. I'm not able. Like for creatives that are coming up that might be facing trolls, you have to understand that these people should be your fuel. I'll show you. Even now when I get trolls, like, you see what I'm out here doing. Like, do you get what I'm saying? And it burns them. It burns them that
Killing with the success.
It burns them that a brother called Sideman is doing what I'm doing and doing it well, bro. And I don't even focus on whether it's burning them or not, because at this point, to me, that is null and void. I can look after my family, bro. If my mom says she needs something, or my pop says they need something, or my brother says they need something, I got them. Do you understand what I'm saying? If my friend said they need something, I got them. That is priceless. So it's about perspective. You have to be able to look at the thing with proper perspective and say, okay, I have this and this. Does that and that matter? It's as simple as that. I always maintain proper perspective. That's how I do it. The trolls are literally a minor, and social media is so, what's the word? It's so flaky. Bro, listen, man. Anybody that's beefing me, like let's say sometimes the man them have a problem with me. They call me simp and stuff like that. If I make 4 or 5 videos repping the man them, guaranteed they'll all come round. I made a video the other day on deadbeat mums, right? Mothers that don't let their fathers see their children for no good reason. All the man them flooded back, bro. It's like they came out the woodwork. Oh, bro, finally he spoke about it. I'll rate you for this one, bro. It's easy. It's easy to change public perception. If I want public perception to change on me in a certain way, 5 videos can do that, and I always know that. But I'm sticking to my truth. So if something's my truth, I'm not gonna change. I'm not gonna alter it based on a critique. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love that. And just kind of like going back quickly, because I think the first time I met you was, I think it was years ago now. Like going back years, it was we was doing our 10th anniversary as an academy, and we was having like 10 events in throughout the month, and one of the events was a comedy event, and then we worked with Smash on it, and I was saying to Smash, look, on this event, we're all about like platforming talent. Like on this event, we want you to get people who are doing their debut kind of like stand-up gigs. We don't want, seasoned people. We want people that are doing their debuts, because we felt like it was, as an organisation, it was our duty to provide opportunities. And I remember having the conversation with Smash, and Smash was like, yeah, so we've got Roadman and we've got, I can't even remember who the other one was, and I don't even know if you remember this.
I remember. That was my first stand-up show.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's my first stand-up show ever.
That's crazy. And I think for me, and then when you both went up there, obviously you was just absolutely hilarious.
No, thank you.
And the room was just in awe. Like the room was just absolutely in awe. And I knew straight away. I said to my brother, like, this guy's gonna go far. Like this guy is going to go far. And it was just refreshing to see. It was just refreshing to see your work ethic. Like, you came on time. Like, you was just very focused. Like,
I'm always an on-time person, though.
like,
Always
just honestly, and like, just very focused. Like, in the green room, just practicing and rehearse. Like, and for me, I was just like, wow, like, this is just like, we don't generally see this. So yeah, I just knew straight away that you'll do amazing things.
I mean, I mean it, innit? I mean it. I meant it. I meant for this to happen. I mean for more to happen than what has happened, because, you know, in my head, it's fighting poverty. And as I said, I grew up poor, happy but poor, happy but very conscious of how poor we were. And so my mission is not for chains. It's not for bling or the biggest car. I just want the money in my account.
And that is the thing that I love. Everything is intentional. And people that's watching or onlooking will probably not think, they'll probably think, oh, it's
no idea how
luck,
intentional.
or
I'm differently intentional.
But everything that you do is intentional. And I think that's powerful.
Yeah. A lot of people wouldn't know the extent to which I'm intentional, and really the position that I'm in, I placed myself there with strategic moves and strategic understanding when it comes to how to, I understood how money is made in the game that I'm in. Most people are making money from brands. It's just as simple. When you see people in the creative space, people like myself, people like Munya, people like Young Philly, people like Chunks, we're making money from brands advertising with us. That's how you make money. I showed myself to be an advertiser from the get-go. I showed myself to be marketable. I made sure that my content when I started out wasn't so rambunctious, because some people were only focused on the funny. I was also focused on how the funny looks. If I'm doing jokes that are too vulgar, a brand won't want to work with me. And from I quit Londis, I was working with local musicians, local businesses, local shops, and I was showing myself to do adverts, not just, hey guys, check out this product. I was doing sketches and adverts. To this day, not many people do adverts. They come and they do what they're told. So they'll show up to a set that's already filming. Brands contact me and I film, self-produce, edit the advert myself. I've done adverts.
Wow.
When I say adverts, I don't know much man bar me and Munya that do adverts. We do adverts. We do actual, okay, this is now something you could put on TV. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, and so I positioned myself to be seen in a certain way by brands in the content that I put out. I think about how I want to be seen when I put out my content, not just, oh yeah, what's gonna get the most laughs? Because sometimes the things that get you the most laughs are the things that actually get you the least money.
Yeah, hinders you.
Yeah.
So this is, and that's an interesting point, because you, in one sentence you say that, and then 2020 was a challenging year.
Yeah.
And 2020, in particular, came out and was very vocal about.
I flipped everything on its head. Everything that I just said.
Yeah, that's
in
what I mean.
2020, I flipped it on its head. And
so I want to hear about that.
That was not a part of the plan. The plan was for me. The plan was never to mess up the bag for me. Ever to mess up the bag. Ever. The plan was to stay in my lane and do my thing, because I'm on feeding. I only cared about my immediate family, really and truly. But when I saw the George Floyd video, that changed me as a person forever. And I could never go back to who I was before. And at the time, it was just not the time in my life for me to be making financial risks, because I'm making a lot of money, but I'm also spending a lot of money because I'm living in a $3,000 a month flat in Wembley, right? I'm paying my cameraman to live with me. There's a lot going on. But when I saw that video, I just said, I have to speak out. And when I said I have to speak out, in my head, my career was already over. I said to my cameraman, we might have to move back to Brum, because this may be it. I just accepted that.
Wow.
So everything I've done since that is because I already accepted that my career was over. I can't believe I still have a career. Like I'm sitting here just thankful to God and in awe that I'm still working with big, not no little brands, you know. Like I work with Amazon, I work with Disney, I work with Gift Gaff, I work with big brands. This year, if I reeled off the amount of, I'd work with JD.
Wow.
Like I just did an advert for JD this morning, right? I work with big brands, still being able to speak as freely as I do. And I think that's because the industry changed. This one I didn't plan for, but the industry changed to starting to, because the world changed and people wanted people to real talk.
Yeah.
People was tired now of the fake and the, you know what I mean, the performative and stuff like that. They wanted real talk. And I happen to do real talk.
Yeah. And do you think that it's because of how authentic and true that you were and how vocal you were? Do you think that that's part of the reason why you still have a career? Because I think before George Floyd, if you was to be as vocal as you were, I'm not quite sure that you would stand. You'll be still here because, and I was speaking to Jamelia about this actually on Monday, and because I had a conversation with her and because Jamelia was speaking about racism like before it was popular too. And that I think hindered her career. So do you think that because of post George Floyd and you speaking on such issues is part of the reason why you're...
Two reasons I'd say. Post George Floyd is the main reason. And the second reason is I measure my words. Even when I'm angry. Yeah. My words are measured. And I think because of the way that I deliver my words, it comes across a certain way. One of the things that I've been hailed for in talking out is that I speak in a way that makes people feel understood that are going through the experience, and that makes people understand that don't understand the experiences that we have.
I agree.
So because of that, they see it more as informative rather than just ranty. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's what saved me in essence. It's like, because right now, a lot of how I make my money, people don't even know. Some of the stuff is not posted to the gram. I'm doing talks with companies all the time, in-house talks with their staff on race relations, on misogyny in the workplace and things of that nature that those talks never see the light of day. These are Zooms that never see the light of day. They're not posted on the gram. So you wouldn't know that I'm doing them. So it actually created like a new avenue for me.
Yeah. I think that's really amazing. I really do. So just reflecting back on that time, BBC, big, massive corporation, and you held them to task. You said, actually, like, this isn't happening. And you made this big, massive corporation, you know, billions of dollars corporation reflect on their own practices. And how did like, when you said that you was leaving, like, did you think maybe that's not the right decision? Did you think I should be doing this, or did it just feel right? Like, what was the process of that?
That was an easy decision for me to make because I had already thought my career was over from the George Floyd thing. So I put my mind in being okay with that. And once I put my mind in being okay with something, I now live according to what I'm okay with, because I had already accepted it. I thought my career was done from I started talking about George Floyd. Like, the BBC thing happened like 3 months later. So it was just like, I was already in that brain. But I've always been like that. I've always been on making a tough decision if I feel like it's the right thing to do and if I feel impassioned about it enough. And it made me realize how much people don't really expect people to be quote unquote real. Like, people always ask, you know, social media influencers and stuff online, like, oh, these men are all fake, but I think when I quit my job, everybody's like, whoa, oh, he's actually doing it, he's actually doing it, and they never expected that from me. But I've always looked at myself like that. I've never looked at myself as the kind of person that wouldn't do what I felt like I want. If I want to do something bad enough, it will get done. If I feel strongly enough, I've always been the kind of person to throw my toys at the pram if I feel strongly enough about an issue.
And you know what was amazing about that was because it was authentic and real to you, and because you did it from the heart, it was part of the reason in my eyes that kind of seen you catapult to different audiences. I mean, I saw people in America speaking about it, and like, like for me, I was like,
I did not think it was that big. Well, when I did it, I thought, yeah, it's gonna cause a bit of a thingy, but I never thought it would be as big as it was. So when I was making that decision, because it's normal to me, it's normal to me to make a tough decision if I feel like I have to. I've always done that. I've done that many times in my life, just in my personal life, right? So, so seeing people's reaction to that was not my plan. Is what I'm saying. Yeah.
I mean, I saw
But yeah,
it
of
on the
course,
breakfast show and everything. I was like,
yeah,
"Whoa!"
Breakfast Club, yeah. Of course, like it did a lot. Speaking about George Floyd quitting the BBC, these are all things that kind of raised my status with people, but it was just never things that I planned to have done that. But yeah,
Amazing.
it's crazy because I thought to make it in this field, I had to shave myself off. But the more I've been myself, is the more I've grown. It's an interesting thing to see.
Yeah, and just speaking about kind of you being yourself, like you have literally, in my view, spoke up and spoke for kind of marginalized communities and groups and being the voice for many that were silenced and using your platform to do that. Even at the detriment to kind of some people not being in fan of it or kind of.
Between BBC and George Floyd, I was getting borderline worshipped, which I'm uncomfortable with, right? The second I started talking about men's treatment of women, I lost people there. I lost a lot of people there. But for me, it's not about the money no more. It's just not. I'm not making decisions based on what will be the most favorable for my career. I'm speaking whatever I believe is true. That's it. For me at this point, that's it.
So just in terms of kind of the misogyny against women and of course we know that we live in a patriarchal society and we know the disparities, but what compelled you so much to be like, right, I need to speak up for my women here and speak up particularly because I know you do a lot of work for black women and like I see it all the time, like you're really active in that space. So I just try
the Mitchum situation. Do you remember the little girl that got snatched up?
Oh yeah.
When I saw that and I decided to speak, now to be clear, I've always had women friends. I have loads of women friends. I always have, right? And I'm a very inquisitive person. So when I speak to them, I hear about their experiences. So I've always been conscious of what women go through more than the average dude because I'm hearing it from my female friends all the time. My woman friends rather, all the time, right? And literally, when I put out that video talking about the Mitchum situation, so many women DM'd me. It was unfathomable. Thousands with paragraphs, dissertations explaining to me what they've gone through from dads, uncles, cousins, and brothers. I'm sitting there reading through all of this. Wow. I'm reading and the reading can't done. Every single time, listen, when I say they're confessing to me, bro, a lot of these women are telling me, I ain't ever told nobody nothing. Nobody, you're the only person that knows. Me, a stranger in the DMs, because they feel so understood by what I'm saying in this video, because that's how little they hear men speak like this. Because when you speak like this for real, you have to speak not only from the point of view of pointing the finger at other men, but you got to point the finger at yourself. And because they see me as being willing to shed my own ego in order to speak on even myself, and even what I've perpetuated as a man, right? They feel so understood that when I say thousands, I'm not joking. Thousands of, do you understand what thousands mean, bro? Of DMs, details of what they've been through. At this point, they gain nothing by doing that. They're not asking me to post it. In fact, most of the messages ending, don't tell anybody what I've said. They just wanted to share with me what they've gone through. Bro, you can't read all of that and be the same. And that's when you realize the extent of the problem. It's massive. It's massive.
And I just want to applaud you for the work that you're doing in that space, because it must be difficult. And I'm not even talking about kind of putting yourself in that space to speak on the issues, but just reading and being on the receiving end of so much trauma and so much upset and so much hurt that, you know, I don't think I could. I just don't think.
It's a lot, man.
It is a lot.
It's a lot.
Cool. All right. So we spoke a lot, and I'm really appreciative of that. But what do you find as your challenges as being a creative, being in business? Like, what's your main kind of challenges?
One of the main challenges of this field is keeping up. Bro, keeping up with the Kardashians. It's just a tough thing, because, you know, you conquer one app, then a new app comes out, you gotta learn that, you gotta, okay, now we're doing TikTok, okay, what was working on Instagram is not gonna work on TikTok, so you gotta learn a new algorithm, a new way, a new method. Then you got Clubhouse comes out, you gotta learn how to do that, you gotta learn how to moderate. Now people expect you to go to moderate at university, and it's just like, one of the toughest things of this field is when I worked at Londis, it was the same thing day in, day out for years. We never had anything new that we had to learn was minimal. In this field, for you to stay ahead, for you to keep up, there's a lot that you have to learn, reinvent, redo, and sometimes it gets tiring. Sometimes it gets tiring when you feel like, okay, I found the model now, I found the mode, this is what I'll do then. And then he comes again, and then you gotta come again and fight again and live to fight another day. That's one of the toughest things about this field, and you gotta be built and prepared to do it. And that's why many have fallen by the wayside. Many have fallen by the wayside because they couldn't adapt. So adapting is a tough thing because it's tiring, and it's not really like the typical model of work where you just do the same thing and it becomes repetitive and it becomes you almost become robotic at it. But with this, you have to switch up. Like right now, I've switched up so much that some days I ask myself, am I even a comedian anymore? When I look at my page and look at the content, like I had to put a funny video out there just the other day just to restore the feeling. I was like, yo,
I'm still here. I'm still about,
and it did well as well. I'm still about. Like wow, like people be messaging me like, yo, Sideman, this happened. I know you're gonna speak on it, and I'm like, whoa.
Because I feel like that's the expectation now.
Oh yeah, that's another struggle. The expectations on me are crazy. Like it's crazy that the more you do, the more people have to say about what you've done. Whereas some people that don't do nothing, no one ain't got nothing to say about them. I'm constantly having to battle against criticism.
And you will, and sometimes you have to choose what you speak on, like for your own like mental health. Like you have to choose what you speak on, because
you also have to not only just choose what you speak on, but you also have to understand those people that are critiquing you. I don't rate nobody. You can't trick me. You're questioning my moral compass, but I don't trust yours because I know what human beings are, because I know what I am. People praise me and give me accolades all day, but I know I got faults and failures just like you. So don't think that I'm going to feel, oh my God, I should feel down in the dirt because you tried to put me down there. Because I know if your life was put on a screen like mine has to be, I know if you was in the position that I was in, you would buckle, you would fail, you would crumble like we all do, because we're all human beings. Like so, and people speak about what they're passionate about. Oh, when it's your passion, now you want to talk, but when it's not your passion, you don't want to talk. Same like everybody else. So somebody would treat you like your dog because you haven't spoken on their issue, but when it was your issue, they weren't speaking. And sometimes people ask me to talk about stuff, and then I check their page, they ain't even posted a picture or they ain't posted nothing, a picture or a post or a nothing. Jack all, but then they expect it from me. So it's like, oh, so your moral compass is just for me then? You don't have a moral compass for yourself? So yeah, that's I don't let people trick me into, I don't let the internet trick me into feeling any way morally, because I know what the internet is. People are fake. I've learned that. I've proven that. I've proven the fakeness of people, and I'm fake too, and that's okay.
And if it's one thing that I'm going to take from this conversation, is the fact that it's so important to understand yourself, and it's also important to understand these people who are targeting you and what their moral compass is. Of course. Because then that gives you...
Of course. I think about it all the time. I'll make an 8-minute video on a serious matter, right? A serious matter. that has to do with women, and then a man will comment at the end of it, simp. That says more about him than it does about me. Like, you are able to bypass all of these serious things and issues that I'm speaking about that women are going through to call me a simp at the end of the video. That says something about you. So for me, I'm never tricked by just the volume of words. I'm listening to what's the content of what you're saying, and what does it say about you. Does it say something more about you than it does about me? Yeah, and that's how I traverse this field.
I love that. So for the next generation of creatives who really want to make it, really want to make it in the world. So it could be a musician, could be a comedian, could be a TV personality, a social media, like any creative at all that kind of thinks, right, I want to now start taking this talent, this God-given talent given to me seriously and be professional with it. What are the 3 pieces of advice that you will give to them?
Be prepared to adapt. Be prepared to adapt, and that comes with so much. Adapting can mean leaving the city that you live in.
Wow.
Adapting can mean leaving the country that you're in. Adapting can mean looking at things completely differently from how you looked at them ever before, and completely changing how you look at things, because it needs to be attacked from a different angle. All kinds of things.
Wow.
It's like Instagram started, it was a 15-second platform. Videos could only be 15 seconds. Then they went to a minute. I had to adapt, become the minute guy. Then it went to IGTV. I had to adapt, become the IGTV guy. Then it went to Reels. So now I got to go back to being the 15-second guy. Adapt. Never, and in adapting, you're never shying away from the reality of the field. The reality of the field is that clout matters. There's no point running away from it. There's no point ignoring it. There's no point living in the, I'm too real to care about it. It's just one of them things that you have to go through. So do you think
that people should be curating their own platforms and kind of pushing numbers and pushing and securing their own following?
It's as simple as this. It's as simple as this. If you ignore it, it will ignore you. If you ignore the numbers, it will ignore you. You have to break it down to a science. How are people getting the numbers? Because you can serve the same food just in a different dish, and that's all it is. I do the same concept of a video for Instagram and in TikTok, but I do it and deliver them in 2 very different ways, because their audiences have different appetite. TikTok audience has the appetite to listen to a video for 30 seconds max. You know that on that platform. You go over there with anything longer than that, they're not feeling it, right? Instagram has an appetite for a bit longer. Facebook has an appetite for a bit longer or different. You get what I'm saying? So you adapt to the platform that you're on. And I always tell people, like, numbers is what stop it. Numbers is why some creatives are so creative but never put out a video, because they fear it. Don't fear it, fight it. This is a fight. It's a fight with the numbers. It's a fight with the algorithm. When you pick up the creative field right now, you're basically a boxer, and you are in the ring getting punched up by the algorithms. You're getting punched up by the numbers. You're getting punched up by people's perception of people with numbers. You got to fight. That's it. It's a fight. It's not something, you're not praising numbers at this point. You're fighting. You're fighting fire with fire. That's how I see it. So number 1, adapt. Number 2, get your mind right. Getting your mind right will be the thing that makes sure that you don't stop, that you don't falter, that you don't let yourself be defined by the numbers, that you don't let yourself be defined by how other people perceive you. So get your mind right. And
just really quickly, how can people get their mind right? Like, what kind of practical steps can they do to get their mind right?
You have to accept worthiness for yourself. You have to accept that you're worthy. A lot of reasons why people feel like they don't let themselves get anywhere is because they define their worth by the success and the accomplishment, or they define their worth by exterior or extenuating circumstances. You are worth it because you are here. That's it. As long as you are here and on this planet, you are worth it, and you deserve to go after everything that you want to go after and have it.
Come on.
No other reason. If you look for other reasons, they'll fail you. If you feel like you're worthy because your friendship circle likes you, the friendship circle can go away. Family can go away. Success can go away. Money, all these things go up and down. You have to feel worth it. I love myself, and I always will. When I've messed up, I love myself. When I've failed, I love myself. When I'm at the bottom barrel, if nobody else loves me, I love me for no other reason than that I'm me. If I'm going to have to live with this brother, being myself, every single day for the rest of my life, I have to love him. He has to be my number one priority. If you understand and can encapsulate that in your mind, you can do a lot. Because at that point now, you don't let anything slow you down or make you feel like you are undeserving. There is a lot of people that they let themselves think that they're undeserving because life told them that they were undeserving, whether it was by somebody's words, somebody's deeds, the algorithms, the numbers, the lack of success. If you just accept within yourself, I'm worth it because I'm here. So as long as you're here, you're worth it. When you depend on other things or all those other things, the arms of flesh will fail you.
Preach.
You dare not trust your own.
Preach. I was about to get the offering plate out. Okay, yeah, love that. And
That's how I get my mind right anyway.
Love it.
Happiness has to be something you choose.
Nice.
It has to be something you choose.
And then the last point.
Okay, the last point. Smart people learn from their own mistakes. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others. It's a quote that I hear Charlemagne use all the time. Learn from where you see other certain pitfalls that we go through in life. Somebody went through them already and been said, don't do it. But we walk through certain things that we don't have to walk through. There's certain things I don't need to try crack to figure out that that ain't the way. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I've seen people try crack. You get what I'm saying? It's as simple as that.
It's what they say, like success leaves clues, and
Yes.
you learn from other people.
One of the things that makes me know that a good work ethic is the key to success is because I've watched a million different people in a million different interviews say, you know how I'm here? I kept going. And then I'll tell you the same thing. You know how I'm here? I kept going. So now I know. I knew to keep going because of the amount of people I saw say, I just kept going. I knew to work smart and work efficiently, not just work hard. Because I watched too many people say, you know how I did it? I didn't just work hard, I worked smart. I seen it. And because I seen it, I can apply it. It's a part of how I say I break down things, the science of things, of how to do it. So for instance, it's easy for me to do a million. Like a lot of creatives can't, they have to wait to be inspired to do a video. I can do a video anytime because I broke down comedy to a science. I have comedic tools, hammers, nails, everything. For instance, alliteration. I know if I say Big Bunda Bianca, it's funny to people because I used 3 B's. That is cranked in my head. That's like 1 + 1 is 2 to me. I apply that method. I know that if I compare something to something that people don't expect me to compare things to, like for instance, I did a video the other day on this girl pushing a bear, right? And when I watched her push the bear, I understood that everybody's gonna say, white people pushing a bear just to protect their dogs. I thought, let me come around from the back door and say, no, I need white love. I want to be loved the way a white woman loves her pet. You get what I'm saying? So I find a different angle. Every time I look at something, I apply these methods.
And I just want to ask this question because I know that everybody's thinking it. How on earth do you speak so flipping fast in your video? Is it scripted? Is it just free flowing? Like
I plan everything out.
Wow.
So yeah, I plan everything out that I'm going to say. I know my bullet points. And I've always been a fast talker anyway. Like talking fast is just not a thing for me. I do a podcast. People hear me. People will hear me on this thing reel out whole sentences and soliloquies anyway. So it's just a natural thing for me.
Anytime like a video like on Instagram comes up and it's Sideman, I'm like, let me get my pen and paper. I need to make some notes. But no, I absolutely love it. And I've loved this podcast. I've learned so much. And you've dropped so much gems just from kind of embracing numbers, learning from people and being wise and really just keep going, understanding your mind and your strength, and making sure that you see yourself as worthy and you're comfortable in your own shoes. Literally, the gems that you have dropped on this podcast, on this episode, is amazing. And I know that so many people who are just starting out or who are actually in their careers and on their journeys will take value from this and will level up. So I just want to thank you for joining us. Before you go,
Thank you for having me, man.
we do this thing called 10 in 10. And 10 in 10 is just, we ask you 10 fire quick questions. It's one or the other. And you just have to just let us know what it is. Let me just get it ready.
Stop writing in books.
Why?
Because you have notes. If that book's lost now, you've lost all of that. It's crazy. All you people that write baffle me. But anyway.
How do you like what?
In my notes? If you look at my phone notes right now, everything in the world I've ever said is in there.
Oh no, I'm a traditional.
Because even if I lose my phone now, I update my Apple ID, I get all my notes back. You lose that book now, it's gone forever.
It's true, but there's just something about seeing it there and. But yeah, all right. You ready?
Yes.
Nike or Adidas?
Nike.
Beyonce or Rihanna?
Beyonce.
Audi or BMW?
BMW.
Rush Hour or Bad Boys?
Bad Boys.
KFC or McDonald's?
KFC.
ASOS or Boohoo Man?
Boohoo Man.
Tupac or Biggie?
Tupac.
J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar?
J. Cole.
Instagram or Facebook?
Instagram.
Podcast or books?
Podcast.
Love it. Sideman,
Yeah.
thank you.
The only one of those I
much.
probably would take back is J. Cole or Kendrick. I think maybe Kendrick.
That's the strange one, because a lot of people say J. Cole and then a lot of people have said Kendrick Lamar. So
I think yeah. I appreciate them both equally, but I appreciate Drake more than both of them put together, combined. Squared.
Sideman, thank you so much
Thank you
for
for
joining
having me,
us. Honestly, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Business pleasure, real life get together. Join us here.